I tutaj poproszę pana Marka Salamaka
I'd like to ask Mr. Marek Salamak from the Silesian Technical University, who is going to talk about the subject. Good morning. Thank you very much for your introduction. Thank you very much for inviting me to this conference. I hope that I am going to be able to fulfill the task that has been rested in me. And mention also about the Apartment Plus program. I am a representative of the scientific environment, but I also work closely with business, so I know this perspective as well. As the entire lecture of mine dedicated to technologies, I encourage you to fasten your seatbelts and take a deep breath. Are you ready? I am curious, who of you remembers the series Space 1999? Is there anyone here who remembers this series? I was 12 when in the 70s I sat in front of a black and white TV to see what happens in the series. Space traveling to the moon were a daily bread in the series. In the first episode, the main characters take over the duties of a brand new lunar base. But no one showed who and how had built this base. Where were the designers? Who won a tender for the main contractor? Who was the supervisor? What kind of materials were used? There was a nuclear reactor inside, so probably there was also concrete there. So what was the specification for this concrete?
Jeśli czytaliście kiedyś Państwo Lema, to jest mój najbardziej ulubiony autor science fiction, naczytałem się tego w dzieciństwie.
If you ever read Stanisław Lem, my favorite author of SF novels, he also described the penetration of remote planets. The navigator with a compass is working over the paper map, and so did the navigators on the ocean until the end of the 20th century. So probably we will not fly to other planets soon. The base commander, John Koenig, he, in addition to space shuttles, he had also a crew, but also gadgets. These were the 70s. It was a success of the film producers. Now, a different kind of series. Also the 70s. I think that if it was shown today, we would have a building celebrity, a construction celebrity. Now, we are only watching doctors or lawyers. Unfortunately, this picture lasts in our imagination with a negative stereotype of a construction or a building worker. I am glad to say that it slowly passes away. The gentleman on the left side is my friend, Piotr Dudek, who is supervising the construction of a London Crossrail. It is a cross-section of railway lines, and one such railway station costs more than one subway line in Warsaw. And this is made by means of a beam as well. When in the 90s there were first 3D concepts of construction sites, the beam concept was not even known yet. The London Crossrail is one of the many examples of large-scale, huge investments, the costs of which exceed the possibilities, financial possibilities of entire countries. We are estimating that these projects, the number of these projects will grow. But there is a chronic over-budgeting, budget overruns, and the chronic delays in these projects.
Bardzo daleko, jak się odsunę. Okej. O właśnie. Więc mamy spore opóźnienia nie tylko w czasie, ale również przekroczenia.
We have significant delays in terms of time and in terms of budget. We have severe overruns.
Niska produktywność całej naszej branży budowlanej.
It is due to low productivity of the industry. And also in the Polish scale, everything will depend on the management of these investments and on innovation. You probably heard about the C40 Association, which connects the world's 90 largest cities, over 650 million people, and a quarter of the global economy. For us as construction professionals, the greatest challenges lie in cities. It is impossible to live in such a city without infrastructure investments. Let's see the construction productivity index in the industry, excluding construction industry and agriculture. It refers to the United States, but the data can also be referred to Europe. We can see that the index is growing. It grew twice. It doubled. Would you like to see how it looks in the construction industry? Nothing is going on. I can even say that there was a drop. It means that the gap between the needs expressed in the number of citizens of large cities, because people are still migrating from agricultural areas to the cities. But we have to take into consideration that we put concrete piles in the same way as we did years ago. Remember the lessons on Industrial Revolution. Steam engines, starting from steam engines, every next step of the way is shorter. The world started to accelerate. The German government announced a program called Industrial Revolution 4.0. If we connect all that to cyber-physical systems and the Internet of Things and cloud processing, we start to lose track, we as construction professionals. Last year I took part in an event called Skarska Days. And I heard that in 2020, even 50 billion devices will be connected to the Internet. But it doesn't concern your personal computers. It regards simple devices, simple house devices like, for example, washing machine. The same will happen to all the machines on a construction site. That's why worldwide concerns, Apple, Google, are now interested in the construction industry, because here you can still earn a lot of money. You can still improve the low productivity. So you should expect a revolution in this respect. What you will see right now can be a little scaring. It seems like an invention of our military specialists, but that's not the case. Robotization caused some other industries to improve their productivity severely, significantly. This is one of the most advanced robots in the world. The robots become ever more self-dependent and individualized. The question is,
Wydajemy takie duże ilości pieniędzy
we are spending so much money
po to, żeby układać pudełka w magazynie.
only to stack boxes in
większą stawkę.
the...
Coś na szczęście zaczyna się dziać również w naszej branży.
But I would say that something is starting to happen in our industry as well. We start to use robots and machines in the precast concrete industry. On our construction sites, we have autonomous earth-moving machines, crewless machines and vehicles are used. We do demolition works by means of robots. We do masonry and paving works by means of advanced machines. So we also are going to have machines that will execute whole bridges. We will be able to introduce robots so that the work can be done 24 hours a day. Some companies are working on exoskeletons, not for the military, but for construction workers. We have mobile concrete printers, and we have printed houses. This kind of mobile sets can easily be brought to the construction sites, and they will start their work immediately. Without breaks, in low temperatures, when a human being cannot even exit the building. Some companies are working on robots that are going to be able to build bridges on the Amsterdam Channel. The question is, is there a rule to this madness, or is it just the will to gain more money? I think that we still have dreams. We started with dreams and we still have dreams. Imagine that how would we be able to build something on Mars as soon as we are already there. And I know that we will be there someday. We won't be executing or examining the ground by standard means. We won't be producing bricks made of beautiful red Martian soil. We won't be discussing things with a site manager, even if he's a professional and a member of construction associations. I think first we're going to send robots there. But in order for this to come true, we have to change something in our traditional construction industry. We have to enter the virtual design and construction world. The heart of the technology is building information modeling or building information management, as you please. What you are looking at right now is not animations prepared for the purposes of marketing or program introduction. These are real projects prepared in BEAM technology and regarding the budgets, the schedule, the deliveries. You can say that these are large projects and we're spending a lot of money on it. But in many cases, it concerns only some rebuilding works in some parts of the cities. These are the concerns of the citizens and the cities themselves. We have to make the step forward that already has been made in other industries. We have to leave the flat documentation and exchange it for 3D models. We have to enter the BEAM world, that is, the management of information on these models. It's not just geometry. In 2014, the European Union released a directive that can significantly change the entire industry. This directive refers to electronical modeling of building data. It is not expressly stated, but it refers to the BEAM technology. It refers to the optimization of the public space projects. It doesn't only refer to the design phase, but also to the execution and to the management of ready-made buildings. We are talking about European Union scale. I don't want to comment on the document itself, but they assume some savings, some significant savings concerning construction projects. Take a look at some countries, such as Scandinavian countries or Great Britain. They already introduced BEAM into their legal regulations, and they were not the greatest European Union enthusiasts. We are still in the phase of handmade or hand-drawn design. I was also educated on this basis. But the first users of CAD 2D technology were huge companies. These systems or these programs were too expensive to be used commonly. But in the 80s, there was a significant acceleration in this respect. For example, General Motors was the owner of some of the systems, and they were the only owner of those systems. But in the 80s, they started to spread. An unknown company, Autodesk, released AutoCAD in its first version, and then MicroStation started to compete with them by showing their own system. But still, CAD was an electronic drawing board. The algorithms, the interfaces were too weak to manipulate with the 3D graphics. It was just a toy still. A small company, Hungarian Graphisoft, created a method to employ virtual mock-up of a building. Starting from the year 2000, this technology developed rapidly. We are practically independent in 3D modeling. We also have multi-dimensionality, multi-industrial approach, multidiscipline orientation, and teamwork included in the systems. BEAM was for a long time misunderstood. It is not only CAD extended to a 3D dimension. It reaches much further than the mere creation of a drawing. It allows to optimize the whole execution and then the maintenance of a building. CAD is only a subset of BIM, and it won't disappear. It will exist. It will streamline the creation of drawings. But BIM is structure-oriented. It doesn't use simple tools such as a line or a circle or a triangle, but it uses real-life elements, 3D elements. And what I would like to stress, the most important thing in the whole discussion is information. One model can be used throughout the entire lifespan of a building, starting with conceptual design, detailed design analysis, documentation, budgeting, construction logistics, the operation and maintenance of a building, then rebuilding and modernization, and ending up in demolition. Very important word is teamwork. Teams will be able to work on one BIM model. The models will grow, they will be ever more interdisciplinary, and they will be unique. Today's world is the world of teamwork. Whereas at the universities, we're only loading the graduates' heads with knowledge, whereas employees are working for people who are creative and can work in teams. My students are already educated in a different way.
Now let's sum up the evolution and revolution. Starting from drawings on drawing boards through to CAD techniques, then solid modeling, and the introduction of BIM to design and construction process, and finally we have a single model that can be used to manage the whole building life cycle. Whether we want to look like this in the future, I leave it up to you to decide. There are also other directions of development. A warning to all young people who are slouching over their laptops. Well, it would be good if it ended like that. I will talk about this technology in a moment. I have to mention bridges. From the start of my career, I've been dealing with bridges. And it so happens that recently we fell in love with our bridges too much. Namely, we are putting padlocks on the bridge and throwing the key into the water. Someone's excessive feelings can be bothersome for the object. Engineers are forced to take drastic measures to prevent a catastrophe. Today, we can build bridges above clouds, like this Milo viaduct in France. We can climb to the summits, like in this case. Or another example, Santiago Calatrava in Venice. We can look for new forms, like this bridge in Brisbane. We don't have one like that in Poland, but I've already seen some designs. We can show harsh climates of Calgary. This is Calatrava. We can start using modern technologies in bridges, which have so far been used in space industry or aviation industry. We can look for new constructions, structure systems, like in this case, this is a Millennium Footbridge in London. We can come up with new construction technologies. This is a 300 concrete bow near Hoover Dam. We can build bridges above valleys from which we enter straight into the tunnel. It's thanks to smart design technologies. So this is how we develop our infrastructure. New objects are established. We have more and more assets we need to manage. But we have less and less funds for maintenance, so we need to extend life cycle of the objects. With all that, we need to take care of safety, improving the safety of those facilities. All bridge catastrophes are always spectacular. And here this is an example of Minneapolis. Within just a dozen seconds, 13 people died during morning rush hours because of corrosion. When I went to Vietnam for the first time to inaugurate our European Asian project, Asian Link, to prepare a training program for bridge inspectors in Indochina, my dean accompanied me, a great theoretician who knows a lot about numeric concrete models. And he kept asking me, what's the difference between bridge management system and building management system? What's the difference between inspection of a bridge and inspection of a building? Honestly, 10 years ago, I didn't know how to answer this question. But the first part of the answer is here. First of all, it's a huge asset. These are huge funds comparable to a budget of a given country. So it's a totally different issue than managing the largest network of fuel stations or hotels. As you can see, when you inspect the bridge, you need some extra qualifications. I really like climbing the mountains. It's very difficult to inspect foundations underwater. So in all these difficult situations where the inspector works, when he is suspended on the line, he needs to use several things at once, several pieces of equipment, camera, hammer, and other stuff. So what should be the equipment of a bridge inspector? When I show this to my colleagues from the General Inspectorate in Poland, they always laugh at me and they say, yes, we wish we had that. But this is, in fact, the situation that we should have. How should they work in those difficult conditions? So those cyber-physical devices could help inspectors, replacing several pieces of equipment at once to make sure inspectors have free hands. And what's most important, the inspector would have access to electronic documentation. He wouldn't have to take big, thick paper volumes with them. In Przana, there's a bridge which you can get lost in the middle of the construction of the structure. Okay, so augmented reality technology is very promising, and it's hard to forecast its potential use in the future. I was able to test most of these devices, but there are still certain limitations. They are heavy, they are not too functional, they are expensive. But Google, Microsoft, Apple are buying smaller companies in this area, so I think we are in for a big surprise quite soon. This is probably going to be an extra interface for a computer. What you see on the left-hand side is a picture taken by us inside a concrete bridge girder box. And we have a lot of such bridges in Poland. If you've never been inside a bridge girder box, the space is so big that you can use a truck inside. On the right-hand side, there's a virtual model that we prepared in advance. If you overlap these two things, you will see an augmented reality. So imagine the work of a bridge inspector equipped with this cyber-physical device who has access to all pieces of information in a very intuitive way. Just in time, just in place. Until recently, commercially available headsets, augmented reality headsets, isolated the inspector from the real world because synthesis of two worlds was happening on the display. It's inadmissible from safety point of view on the construction site. Luckily, technologies keep developing. So today, we have displays which provide safety to the inspector and allow for the synthesis of the world, of the real world. So what would be the inspection? I'm showing the example of a bridge, but it's not just about inspecting a bridge. It can apply to an inspection of a gallery, for example, where you have different structural elements. So let's say we have our model, which needs to be a BIM model in the object database, and the inspector downloads the model, goes into the field while being inside of our girder, box girder. He's comparing the model with the current state, and when he notices any irregularity, he makes a qualitative and quantitative evaluation or assessment, and the description of the damage located on the model is uploaded into a database, and there it can be visualized on all external devices. Again, so next year, in 5 years, we'll be able to check what's happening with our damage. We will be able to manage it, whether it should be repaired right away or not. last one.
Takie systemy mogą być
systems like that
powodzeniem
can
zastosowane
be easily
z różnymi pojazdami
used
bezzałogowymi.
in different unmanned vehicles, drones or submarines. So let's sum up. We're in for a lot of changes in the construction industry. And it's not only related to political decisions. Some people are afraid of that, like obligatory BIM, but it will be rather related to the development of technology. It will force us to do that because we need to improve efficiency and performance of construction. It will apply mainly to the ordering parties because they will have the biggest benefits, and designers and contractors will have the most work. So I represent academic world. Let's look at classes at a medical industry, like anatomy classes. You don't have to take cadaver. And this is the example of our graduates. We will be able to take students without the necessity of putting Wellington shoes. So finally, the question, should we implement BIM in our industry in Poland? The British have had their first strike, and our officials are already thinking about how to do it, and I am following it now. Designers are suffering from lack of funds. We can feel it, that projects are underpriced. Contractors did not hear much about that. So we need to start talking about this. We need to focus on training to prepare for what's ahead of us. So be careful, because like any system, this one can be tricky. You need to isolate yourself from all of it in order not to disappear. So honestly speaking, no system will survive without people who serve it. So don't be afraid. It will disappear when there are not enough good people. Finally, if you're interested in the technology, I'd like to invite you to our regular conference, and it's more devoted to BIM infrastructure. In 2016, in November, we had very strong honorary patronages, more than 200 participants, wonderful lectures, the best speakers, and this year, in November, in Krakow, we are meeting yet again at the conference, and we're going to talk about pilot projects realized by the General Directorate for Road and Highways. PLK has announced the first tender with BIM.
Dziękuję bardzo.